fantastic. This is GT racing right now.
He's got traction, he's got really both of them! Maloney!
Oh, he's taken Anderson! Anderson's up to him!
Oh my god! Big crash! Oh my goodness, half the field's gonna get rolled!
Six very close. These guys are want to make their way through the field very quickly. Oh, there we go! Oh no! That's massive! This is it! This is over! I can't believe this! Oh my god!
God, what?
Are you new to sim racing, or maybe a veteran struggling to reach the next level? Have you ever wondered how the aliens reach impressive lap times that seem impossible to achieve? If so, you're not alone. Most drivers reach a certain level and get stuck. But getting faster on track is easier than you think. VRS coaches are some of the best sim racers in the world and offer one-on-one driver skills training at affordable rates to help new drivers learn the basics and help experienced drivers break through to the next level. Are you ready to get faster and get off the iRacing roller coaster? If so, VRS one-on-one personal training is for you. If you've invested in your equipment, it might be time to invest in yourself. Just go to virtualracingschool.com and sign up for a 30, 60 or 90-minute session with one of our world-class coaches, and you'll learn exactly what to do for faster lap times and more podiums. Are you spending a lot of time looking for setups and struggling for faster lap times? Are you tired of searching online for answers? Would you like to get setups, analysis and tutorials from some of the best sim racers in the world like Ralph Alla, Mitchell de Jong, Martin Krunker, Josh Rogers and many more? If so, virtualracingschool.com is the answer you've been looking for. VRS data packs provide hot laps from our professional coaches for you to analyse and replicate. They provide tutorials that walk you through the fastest laps and what the pros did to achieve the best times. And they provide the setups you need to ensure your car is competitive in both oval and road racing. If you're ready to get faster and reach more podiums sooner than later, just go to virtualracingschool.com and sign up for a free account today.
After another packed week of racing here on SimSpeed TV, it's Virtual Racing School GT Sprint Series Championship time. The official Virtual Racing School Series in the B class of official racing on the iRacing platform. We're in week 7 and we're at the Red Bull Ring, a fantastic circuit here in Spielberg, Austria, in the middle of the forested mountains in Styria. Fantastic place to watch some racing. Brilliant place to watch Formula One as well. For SimSpeed TV, I'm Reese Gardner with Bradley Wingard alongside me. Brad, what a brilliant track the Red Bull Ring is. It's short for, a Grand Prix venue at least. It's fast, it's flowing, not many turns, but plenty of overtaking opportunities into those hairpins.
Yeah, good evening, Reese. You're exactly right. It's very different to Spa that we were at last week. It's a little bit over half the length of Spa, but those three massive, well, 3.5 massive straights into some tight corners is going to bring in a lot of passing opportunities. And unlike the last two rounds, we have a nice short pit lane this week. So that's really going to change the pit strategy again, but for a different reason.
Yeah, indeed. That pit entry is going to be quite difficult, having to stay tight through the second last corner of Jochenrindt curve. And, of course, you've got to navigate that pit exit with walls on both sides, making your way out of turn 1. So, Red Bull Ring, only 9 turns here. And you could probably arguably say there's 8 turns, because turn 2 is really just a sweep to the left to set up the braking zone for the hairpin at Remus, but certainly a place where the drivers can swing one up the inside at this historic venue that's been around since the late 1960s. Can't wait to see how we go here on the modern layout that was modified by Hermann Tilke in 1997 for the return of the Austrian Grand Prix. Pit window between laps 7 and 21 here, with a 40-minute race as per usual, and estimating 27 or 28 laps depending on the pace out there. Currently on top in qualifying is Kenny Rosen on a 1 minute 28.647 as the last few minutes of qualifying enter their span, as Ritomo Miyata has managed to put it on the pole position there with a 1 minute 28.517. Brilliant time there from the Japanese, and we're seeing a bit of a star here in this field as well, Brad. WeatherTech Sports Car Championship competitor and 2012 DTM champion Bruno Spengler is racing tonight. He's managed to put it P6 in qualifying so far.
Yeah, it's always good to see real world drivers on iRacing. As we all know, Shane Van Gisbergen, Scott McLaughlin are also very common occurrences in people's races. So it's the first time I've seen Bruno Spengler on track, so I'm excited to see what he can do against some of our quicker sim drivers today.
Indeed. Here's Pedro Oliveira. He currently is P16 in qualifying in his Lamborghini, which is another popular car choice this week, using all of the curbs through the middle sector here at the Red Bull Ring. This is one of the tracks that uses iRacing's brand new 4-tyre off-track detection system, so you can take an absolute ton of these curbs as he comes through the final sector, all over the curb to open up the entry into turn 8, and then he might have just gone slightly beyond track limits there, getting into the red runoff area, but we'll see if this time ends up counting for him. Actually looks like it didn't, and that's not a great lap there for Pedro. He's going to have to work his way up a bit here in the race session. We got 27 cars in this session here in the top split of the 8 p.m. Western Australian time slot, with Sebastian Tixier putting in a time that's not reflective of his current pace. His fastest at the moment is a 29.569. He's currently in 18th position and looks like just starting his, actually just finished his 2-lap run here. So he's probably getting a little bit of extra track time in, because this track doesn't have many turns, but they're all incredibly important with those long straights.
Yeah, that's exactly right. The run out of 1 and turn 3 is they're deceivingly difficult for, turn 1's just a 90-degree corner, but it's so uphill, and that curb on the exit can really unsettle the car. So getting a run out of there is absolutely crucial.
I was getting a run out of this hairpin here coming down to the middle sector. If you get a bad run, you could easily open yourself up to an attack from a rival into this double left-hand sweeper going slightly downhill, and got to be aware of the gravel trap on the outside there. But if you open up the entry enough, you'll be able to get a really good run through to the final sector. That is qualifying run and done. And we can go through the starting grid. Car number 1 in the session, Ritomo Miyata, starts from pole position alongside Kenny Rosen. Then we got Jan Marshalkowski starting from P3 alongside Philip Meyer. Dominik Kulikowski shares the 3rd row with Bruno Spengler. Then we got Marco D'Acunto in P7 alongside Nathan Ames. Then it's Craig Dancy and Dennis Grabowski who round out the top 10. And the top 12 rounded out by Gerald Chevalier, who's had a pretty good season so far, and Robert Corey in the number 12.
Row 7 kicks off with Marco Wiedenfeller and Tony Sorsami in 14th, Tim Klassen and Pedro Oliveira in 15th and 16th. 17th and 18th is occupied by Julian Selewski and Sebastian Tixia. 19th and 20th is Luciano Assis and Alberto Gravilli. Row 10 is occupied by Alberto Gravilli and Elliot.
And then we got Pierre Urbitzu and Roberto Santarelli, 22nd and 23rd. Rounding out the field, we got Marcel Schultz, Villa Hartainen with Bojan Neumann and Hyukjin Kwon, the final car on the grid here, not setting a time. So away we go into the race session, and looks like Marshalkowski and Meyer are the foremost cars up there at the moment. Our top 2 have yet to take to the grid. And there is Kenny Rosen loading on in his BMW in the number 3. It is an all BMW front row. So we've got Miyata and Royson along with Marshalkowski in the BMWs, Philip Meyer in the McLaren, which will certainly spice things up. It seems the BMW is a very popular car choice here at the Red Bull Ring. I'm seeing the vast majority of the first half of the field taking this car. The top Porsche in qualifying has been Robert Corey in P12, but it is an absolute ocean of BMWs in the first half of this field. The pace car is away, and looks like these guys have left it a while to get going behind the pace car. They want to get the best run possible out of the last couple of turns here as the race gets started. But it's all going to be down to Ritomo Miyata in the first position there to lead the field away over this rise between turns 7 and turn 8. If there's a slow car there across the crest and coming down through the final couple of turns, you're going to have to be very careful if there is an incident on the first lap. Miyata leading the field as the pace car is now in the pits. When does Miyata decide to go? He goes now and uses all of the road there, and already seeing Philip Meyer losing a position there to Marshalkowski and having to go really defensive as they go down the start-finish straight for the first time. Miyata leads the way into turn 1 as there's a little bit of a move being attempted by Marco D'Acunto alongside Nathan Ames on the exit of the turn.
Background, sorry to cut you
Oh,
off.
yeah.
Sorry, I was trying to locate who that was, and now I can't find it. I apologize, but I just saw a car exit stage left at turn 1.
Yeah, a couple of Porsches getting involved. Marco Weidenfeller getting a bit of a hip check from Tim Claessens, and also going for a spin was Tony Sulasalmi. So they're at the back of the field now, but it is still Miata that leads the way from Kenny Rosen. The two BMWs doing battle here at the front, looking at third place. Philip Meyer, Jan Marshalkowski with Meyer in the McLaren just behind. Bruno Spengler has managed to hold on pretty well so far. He's actually made up a position now into the top 5, but he has got a long line of cars behind him as off into the gravel trap goes Gerald Chevalier, and he almost goes out to the wall, but he manages to keep it going. Re-enters the track right ahead of this pack of cars here, led by Alberto Gravilli and a few recovering cars there. But looks like lap 1 complete without incident other than what we saw there at turn 1. Pierre Ubitsu defensive versus Ville Hartainen coming through the last couple of turns as Marshalkowski now starts his run here to try and get through to the top 2. That looks like a slowdown penalty for Philip Meyer. He manages to defend into turn 1 from Nathan Ames and hold on to, at the very least, 6th position. So not the best of laps there for Meyer, but have a look at this. Up the front, the two BMWs battling very hard between Rosen and Marshalkowski. Actually, something has happened to Miata there. He's moved back into 3rd as Nathan Ames then makes his way past one of the other BMWs, having a bit of a slow run out of turn 3. But Ritomo Miata, not the best start to his second lap.
No, absolutely not. I think that might have been a slowdown from the last corner. I didn't get a chance to check because there's just so much going on at the moment. But mostly a clean first lap, like you said. Some pretty big movers for one lap. We've got a lot of people up 4 places. Hyujin Kwon is up 9 places in one lap already, which is just insane. I don't know if these guys know that this is the open race. It's 40 minutes, not the fixed one that's 20 minutes, because they're going like it's 20 minutes.
Yeah, it's been pretty chaotic here in the first couple of laps as we look at Tim Claessens. Sim racing veteran is Tim. I remember seeing him on the No Grip forums back in the day. He's up 2 positions now into 13th place. So let's see how well he can do here in that Lamborghini. The drivers will have to be careful of the track limits there on the last turn. It has already gotten a few drivers. Claessens is having to defend pretty hard here coming into the first turn. He's got Pedro Oliveira just behind him, and Oliveira almost getting into the back of him. Pedro's been compromised, which allows Luciano Assis alongside in his Porsche. Looking back from Tim Claessens, we see them going side by side through what is called turn 2. This gentle sweep to the left. And Oliveira just lifting off a bit early there to let Assis go into the braking zone. He has the advantage there. So he's going to have to wait a little bit. Just going outside of track bounds there was Alberto Gravilli, which is easy to do around this place if you slow down, don't slow down enough. Marco D'Acunto and Denis Grabowski side by side through turn 4 there, and Grabowski getting the position now up into 8th place, but he's got a bit of time to make up ahead to Philip Meyer in the McLaren.
Yeah, it's as we've seen in real life racing, side by side through turn 4 can be a bit sketchy, but those guys nice and clean. There was also a pass behind that was 2x2 as well, which was also nice and clean. But this is if I'm not wrong, the first GT sprint race we've had here since it was released, and it's not disappointing so far. So please correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's the first GT sprint race.
Yeah, I don't have that information to hand right now, so I cannot prove or disprove. But all the same, it is good to see the racing that we're getting so far here. I've always liked the racing that the Red Bull Ring produces. You know, it's a very out-and-out quick track with those heavy braking zones, really playing nicely with the braking performance of these GT3s on board with Marco D'Acunto down here in 9th place as he tries to get that position back from Denis Grabowski. They all keep it within track limits that time around. That yellow sausage curb is the limit, and if you go over it, it's going to be the old off-track 1X for you, as it looks like a change of position a little bit further up there between those two BMWs. That's Bruno Spengler making his way past Dominik Kulikovski, and I think it might actually have been a defense as well from Bruno Spengler, because he's holding on well to that 4th position, gradually making his way up, as it looks like there's been maybe some further problems there for Philip Meyer in the last couple of laps, but Bruno here doing well.
Yeah, he's definitely demonstrating why he gets paid the big bucks to race these cars in real life. I was up 2 positions from the start,
Little
or a bit wide.
Yeah, he got the rear end hanging out there through turn 8, but fortunately he's been able to keep them all behind. Kulikovsky had to back off. That's allowed Nathan Ames alongside here down the start-finish straight, and looks like Kulikovsky's going to hold on to that position coming into turn 1. No sense in trying to go around the outside through the first turn here, as my goodness, a bit of oversteer moment there for Philip Meyer, losing some momentum down the straight and getting on the headlight flash button. He's not happy about something, but they continue on down to turn 3 once more, and it looks like the top 3 have broken away from the rest of the field at the moment, with Spengler putting on that brilliant defense. Nathan Ames again trying to go here for P5 on Kulikovsky. Will there be an opportunity here at turn 4? He does pull out to have a look and goes up the inside. That's a bit of a late dive there, but Kulikovsky sees him coming and manages to keep it out of the gravel trap. Will he stay alongside coming into the next sequence of turns? Oh, here we go. There is the contact. Nathan Ames spun around. Meyer has to take avoiding action into the gravel trap. I don't think Ames is going to be very happy with that. He was going defensive there, but it seems that Kulikovsky was still alongside trying to get the move done.
Yeah, it's I think Kulikovsky, he comes across on him actually, because Ames gave him the room, but Kulikovsky just didn't want to be that close to the grass. Understandable. In the last few weeks, we've seen what happens when these cars touch the grass, but really unfortunate incident. Thankfully, no one else got taken out, even when Ames did come back across the track. But yeah, I would be very unhappy with that as well, because that was very questionable of a defensive line on the attacking line, sorry, on the inside.
Indeed. Well, here's the replay thanks to Virtual Racing School, and you can see that just moving to the right a little bit there was Kulikovsky trying to stay off the grass, but Ames, I think, was holding his line and still giving him a car's width of space. So I think he has every right to be unhappy with that one, but he manages to continue on, does Nathan, and everyone else will continue on as well, as there is a move down the inside a bit further down. That is Marco D'Acunto and Kulikovsky trading places, and Mr. Corey just behind them as well in the Ferrari. Side by side go Acunto and Kulikovsky through this double left-hander, and Kulikovsky just ahead here. They give each other a good amount of room here, so it's good to see some respectful racing between these two. And Kulikovsky holding on to the position, but that's going to give a little bit of an opportunity to Corey. And, well, Marco D'Acunto says, no, thank you. I'm not allowing you to get by. And there's contact between Corey and Grabowski as they come through turn 8. Goodness me, this is pretty high-stakes racing that we're seeing here. We're only 6 laps in with 30 minutes to go.
Yeah, that's the wonderful thing about this track, because you have turn 4 and you can hold it around the outside or on the inside. Of course, the outside then becomes the inside for the next 2, but that's the outside for the right-hander before turn 8. And great defensive driving and awareness by both drivers, so that was fantastic. But this battle for the middle of the top 10 is just absolutely popping off. It's incredible.
Yes, indeed. Up the inside goes Robert Corey on the Porsche of Denis Grabowski, but Grabowski gets a little bit of a better exit around the outside, which you can do in turn 3. It's a bit flatter towards the outside of the corner, and you can carry a little bit more momentum, so Corey's going to have to back out of that one and try another time. But yeah, this is a fantastic fight here, and Kulikovsky is ensuring that this battle pack continues to stay together. Of course, what this is doing, along with the contact between Kulikovsky and Ames, is to allow Bruno Spengler in 4th to really get away from these guys. He's all on his lonesome right now, trailing behind the top 3. Let's see how he can do when the pit stop cycle comes around. I'll do a little bit of a lap time comparison when they come across the line. So Kenny Roosen in P1. It's 4 seconds back to Kulikovsky from Spengler there. 29.2 for Rusin, 29.4 for Marshalkovsky, 29.4 for Miata, and a 29.5 for Bruno Spengler. So it looks like the top 4 there, pretty even, but there's still incredible battling going on further back in the field, as that's one of our first scheduled pit stops there. That's Robert Corey, and unfortunately he's overshot his pit box, which is going to really cost him.
Yeah, it's the last thing you want to do. Everyone hates being in the pits. It's so slow. Even on a short lane like this, it takes forever. And then missing your pit box is one of the worst feelings. It's not like Snetterton we had a couple of weeks ago where it's really bumpy and it's a bit easier. This is a nice, smooth, modern Grand Prix pits. And to miss your box, sorry, on a pit lane that's this short is probably worse than on a big track, I reckon, because the percentage of time lost is so much bigger for a small pit lane than it is for a big pit lane like Spa we had last week.
Pedro Oliveira here, still trying to make his way past Tim Claessens in the number 13 just up ahead. Gerald Chevalier a further second behind these guys. Chevalier is having to put on a big defense from Hyukjin Kwon, who started at the very back of the field and has made his way up 13 positions now. It's been a great drive from Kwon here. See if he can hold on to that as Chevalier goes a little bit easier into turn 8, but have a look at how much curb on the inside is used by Kwon. You can really use a ton of the curbs here, and Chevalier might have gone a bit too far beyond track limits there. We'll see if he slows down as Porsche pitting behind. That's Ville Hatainen, who's brought his way into the pit lane. And pit lane is full of a couple of cars there that have not had the best of races. We've got Roberto Santarelli in the box just up ahead of Hatainen there. And you've also got Sebastian Tixier and Marco Weidenfeller, who have come a cropper in the first couple of laps. They look to be retirements from this one. Oh, there is Tim Claessens. He went defensive there versus Oliveira. And they're side by side on the way down to turn 4 here. Claessens is going to have the inside line, but Oliveira is ahead. Claessens still has a bit of overlap. He can try a bit of a move here. Oliveira turns in. They give each other room. That's what we want to see. And they continue side by side down to the double left-hander. Very challenging this corner. You got to turn in late, try and keep it to the inside, but the car always wants to go further out, and that's what happened there to Oliveira. A little bit of contact means that he gets by Claessens.
Yeah, that was a really, really good drive by, well, both drivers. Tim Claessens coming out on top there. That run in that first left-hander was just that little bit crisper, got a little bit more speed through it, and came out on top. So very well done, but Pedro Oliveira is not going to let it go away that easily. He's glued to the rear bumper of that Lamborghini.
Absolutely. It's going to be a great battle further on in this race as we look back at Chevalier and Kwon still all together here. And that fight between Oliveira and Claessens is going to give them a little bit of a leg up here. And news on Robert Corey, apparently he was speeding in the pit lane. He disagrees with that assessment, but the iRacing automated penalty system says, no, you have been speeding in the pit lane. And it looks like Corey has pulled over and retired from the session. So I think a very unhappy Ferrari man there is Robert Corey. Hopefully we see him back next week as we check out this battle for 4th. This is fantastic stuff here. Looking a bit further back behind Bruno Spengler. This is actually the battle for 5th we're taking a look at. Spengler's a long way ahead of these guys, but Kulikovsky, Dakunto, and Grabowski are all in a line here. The 2 BMWs and the Porsche. And when the pit stop cycle comes around, which, you know, we're technically right in the middle of, any of these guys could pit at any time and shake up this order.
Yeah, absolutely. The pit transition time is about, I don't have a good number because all the cars in the pits at the moment are not running anymore. It's not massive compared to, it's not nearly 90 seconds like Spa last week, but especially the guys battling for the top 5, if it's, 30 seconds lane and fuel, that puts them just inside the top 20 with a nice big bit of breathing room. So if Akunto comes in now, then he'll come out in some really nice fresh air and be able to lap that little bit quicker and potentially make that pass. But we will see, because being able to tell people what to do rather than actually doing it are two very different things. But yeah, pit strategy is wide open for the next 6 laps, so I think it's worth the gamble.
Yeah, probably is, especially if you're in Dakunto's position and you're struggling to get by Kulikovsky here. It seems like he has the pace to stay with him, if not pass him, but he's just not able to get the run that he needs. And with that short pit lane, if you absolutely nail it, you're going to gain a ton of time. It seems that transit time is anywhere from 32 to 36 seconds, and Luciano Assis and Tony Sulasalmi have both had 9.8-second pit stop times, so that's what we can generally expect. The drivers won't be taking tyres here, because these GT3 tyres, they can last an incredibly long time. Upwards of 2 stints of about an hour each if you can really push it. It seems also that Roberto Santarelli, back out on track, he's let the battle between Kulikovsky and Dakunto go, as it seems the Porsche behind them has made its way into the pits. Grabowski in the lane as Oliveira continues to gap Claessens, but Claessens is starting to fall back here into the clutches of Jarell Chevalier and Hyuk-Jin Kwon. But Denis Grabowski away out of the pits, and that's an 8.4-second stop time. Very good stop there for Grabowski. Let's see if that pays off for him.
Yeah, we'll have to pay close attention to that one. Luciano Assis is a lot further back than that. Who else had pitted?
Sulasalmi and Hartainen have pitted there, out of the drivers still running out on track.
Yes, okay, cool. So still a bit of a gap. Yeah, it's still probably a 20-second gap between those who pitted early and those who, like Grabowski, who have just come out of the pits, but a lot of that can be down to track position and contact as well. So we'll see where Dakunto finishes up after his stop. See if he comes in now. No, he doesn't. Okay. We will find out next lap.
We shall indeed, and it looks to me like there's not many takers on pit lane, if any, this time around. So there's Tony Sulasalmi, and he is currently on the 3rd lap into that stint as this battle continues here. Up the front, Grusin, Marshalkovsky and Miata. Miata the pole sitter. He's trying his best to get back by these two, but he's having a tough time of it. He might have to take a pit stop gamble here. See if he can undercut them a little by pitting earlier. Of course, having said that, if he pits earlier, he's going to have to take on more fuel. So there's either way this could go, and one way it can go is into the back of Marshalkovsky. And on the headlight flash button is Miata. He's not too happy with that. Obviously thinks that Marshalkovsky has braked a bit too early there, but this battle is going to continue a fair amount, and I think if anything, Marshalkovsky might fuel save just a tiny bit. You don't really need to save fuel to make it home in these races, but anything you can do to minimize the time you're spent stopped in the pits is good.
Yeah, that's exactly it. That's the good thing about this track as well, is because we have those long straightaways into hairpins. If you're in the draft, fuel saving is a lot easier than somewhere that's, I don't know, a bit more flowing, and you're kind of hovering on the throttle, whereas this is the foot's kind of planted or it's not track, so you can really afford to save a lot of, well, not a lot of fuel, but a fair amount of fuel, and that'll save you, near half a second over the course of a stint come pit stops. So might be worth it, but then you might have contact from behind like we saw last lap if the driver behind you is not prepared for that. So it's kind of a which end of the straw are you going to suck from, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. 6 of one, half a dozen of the other, and that half a dozen might put you a bit further back. But it's staying pretty stable there, the battle for the lead, as Claessens now having to get on the defense here. This is going to be interesting here. It's Gerald Chevalier who's still defending from Hyuk-Jin Kwon, and big defensive line here from Claessens. trying to keep Gerald Chevalier behind, and there's a little bit of a tap from behind by Quan, as just avoiding getting into the gravel there is Tim Claessens. He's pushing that Lamborghini very hard, not allowing Chevalier any space alongside to make a move through, but the way these BMWs are going, you'd think it's only a matter of time. As a slight mistake from Claessens, he just put a wheel into the gravel. Doesn't lose a huge amount of time, though. What this is doing, though, is Pedro Oliveira is absolutely skipping away from these guys, and they've got Santarelli there just beside them. He lets them go with plenty of space to spare, which is good to see. Always good to see lapped cars being cooperative here with the leaders and people on the lead lap, as once again, this battle for the lead, Marshalkowski versus Rosen. Does he pull out for a move into the hairpin? No, he doesn't. He's still electing to stay behind, just keep himself in that position, save those tires, make sure that he still has a bit to attack with in the later stages of this stint. It's a real waiting game for these guys, as for a bit further back, Claessen's defensive again versus Chevalier. This battle could certainly go off once more, as Claessens manages to keep a car length between himself and Chevalier this time, so no troubles there.
It looked like a very early move, but I think it was trying to either, you know, cool the engine or psych out Claessens by Chevalier. I think Kyujin Kwon coming in now, well, I would have come in probably 2 laps ago, but coming in now and trying to undercut these two guys would be a very, very smart move, because he's practically glued to the rear of Chevalier's BMW and is pushing him through some of the corners. So he has that little bit of a gap behind, so he can afford to slow down for the penultimate corner to make pit entry. And by the time he comes out, he's going to have a 15-20 second gap of cars in front and behind him, which he doesn't elect to go this time. But I think that would have been the smart move, but maybe he wants to see if he can do it on just raw pace alone.
We will have to wait and see. Either way, it's been a great drive from Hyuk-Jin Kwon. He's now up 14 positions, with some of the field coming in for an early stop, as that's a big problem there for Jan Marshalkowski. That was in the battle for the lead. What on earth went on there? Virtual Racing School replay looks like a big hit from behind by our pole sitter, Ritomo Miyata. Here's the run down the straight, and watch as they come up to the braking zone for turn 3. Marshalkowski getting off the throttle a little earlier, as we've seen on the last few laps, but Miyata hits him in the back and sends him straight into the wall with heavy damage.
Yeah, that's really, really unfortunate for Marshalkowski, because he didn't do anything wrong, and Miyata didn't necessarily... He tried to react as quickly as he could, but obviously that's the fastest part of the circuit, and I don't know, probably should have expected that, seeing he's been stuck there for so long. But he did try and avoid it, which was good, but he didn't. So I don't know. Obviously it's Miyata's fault, but you know, just unfortunate circumstances more than anything, I guess.
Yeah, Marshalkowski avoiding the pits, so obviously he thinks he's, you know, not damaged enough to warrant coming into the pits this time around. But yeah, I think the case there with Miyata was he must have been following a bit too closely. I mean, he was surely aware by that point what Marshalkowski was doing by slowing down a bit earlier in the braking zones, but Miyata is just going hell for leather out there and maximizing every braking zone possible. So I'm sure the drivers will have words. They've probably already had words in sim. I'm not too sure. I don't have voice chat on, so we'll see how it works out towards the end. Hopefully Marshalkowski can make up a few positions, but he's down 6 currently. He's rejoined in position 9. Here is the battle once again with Oliveira, Claessens, Chevalier and Kwon. It's now a proper 4-car train, as it looks like Oliveira has lost out a little bit. He's fallen back into the clutches of this 3-way fight.
Yeah, his lap times have been about 0.3 laps slower than the guys behind him for the last couple of laps, so that's allowed them to catch up. Chevalier and Kwon have stopped battling, calmed down their battling a bit, so they've been able to catch up to Chevalier as well. So yeah, that 3 car that became a 2 car is now a 4 car. So pit window closes very, very soon. So this could be a very frantic pit cycle for these guys, or they could split it a bit earlier than we expected. But they're all running very similar pace now, but they are in a very modest draft train. So that's also going to be helping the guys behind.
Yeah, pit window closes on lap 21, so these guys don't have much longer left. Kulikowski still defending from Dakunto. There's been a lot of chaos around them, but one thing that stayed constant for these guys is they have been absolutely glued together, and you see the McLaren of Philip Meyer lurking in the background. Meyer wants to recover here. He's down 2 positions from where he started, and this pit cycle could certainly be what he needs to get back into the top 5 potentially. Also got to mention that thanks to that incident between Miata and Marshalkovsky, it means that Bruno Spengler is now in a podium position, and it's been a pretty quiet race there for the 2012 DTM champion. He's driven well at the moment and kept it nice and safe within track limits, just keeping up the momentum, which has been good to see. And he's kept himself out of the drama as well. Doesn't go for the pits this time, does Mr. Spengler, but we should expect him in the next few laps.
Yeah, he hasn't had a very exciting race, but sometimes the most boring races are the best ones because they give you the cleanest results. So sitting in third is nothing too shabby. It shows a world of class, as we know. As for him as a driver, he has quite a bit of that, but I'm sure he's liking the battle in his rear view that we focus on now between DeCunto and Kulikovsky, sorry.
Indeed, and all out pulls Dakunto, trying his best to psych out Kulikovsky, who takes a little bit more of the curb on the inside of turn 3. It doesn't harm his exit, though. So now he gets a little bit of a good run here down the straight towards turn 4. But these guys have stayed absolutely glued together in that 2/3 second gap as very late on the brakes there for Dakunto. He didn't quite make the inside of the corner, but still maintaining a good amount of pace. Meanwhile, our 2 leaders, Rusin and Miata, continuing to battle up ahead. And let's see if they go for the pits this time around. They might leave it as late as they possibly can, make the pit stop as short as possible too. And indeed they do. They avoid the pits, so they're going to have to come in the next couple of laps here unless they've managed to perform a fuel-saving miracle.
Yeah, we have 2 laps on that window. So yes, it is going to get very busy very, very quickly. As we see someone in the pits. Who was that? That was
Meyer
Meyer.
and Claessens. They both come in. So Meyer in the McLaren, Claessens in the Lamborghini. Let's see then how this works out, because Claessens, well, he could certainly gain out of this if there's a mistake for Kwon or for Chevalier out on track, but by pitting earlier, he's going to have to put a bit more fuel in the car, so he could certainly lose out to these guys. We've also got Nathan Ames in the pits as well. Ames out in the first couple of laps with that contact with Kulikovsky. Pretty quick pit stop, it seems, there for Tim Claessens. I'll have to immediately censor myself on that one. 10.2 seconds. That's actually the slowest pit stop we've seen so far. Nathan Ames, 8.9 seconds, meanwhile, which is a bit more consistent with what we've seen so far. So now that Claessens is back out on track, we have to wait and see what Chevalier and Kwon can do. Chevalier has dropped Kwon a bit, actually. He's right on the back of Pedro Oliveira now, it seems. Or getting a bit closer, anyway. And these guys are going to have to come in within the next couple of minutes. Let's see what they do. Let's see who makes a mistake, who goes mistake-free. As it looks like Rosen is in the pits.
Yes, Kulikovsky came in just behind him in front of DeCunto. So he's trying to do the is that an undercut when you're in front? It still counts as an undercut, right? If you pit beforehand?
Yeah, probably, yeah. Just try your best to get a quicker stop time, a bit more time out on track, getting that gap down, but pit lane is a hive of activity now. We've got Marshalkowski, Kulikowski, Dancy, Chevalier, Oliveira, Ubitsu, Hyukjin Kwon, Marcel Schultz, all in the lane right now. And Oliveira is away. For him, it was a 9.4 second stop time, but it looks like Philip Meyer has managed to jump all of these guys out there on track and get himself back up into 7th position. Still a fair way behind Kulikovsky to the tune of about a second or so, but he could certainly come away with something good here in the final 9 minutes of the race.
Oliveira managed to beat Kwon out of the pits, but that didn't last very long because Kwon has just gone up the inside of turn 3, and behind them, who is that?
Lassens. Yeah, so,
Sorry, my timing is all messing up on me. So, yeah, he's had a very nice stop as well. He's looking around the outside.
Oh, no!
Oh, good save.
Yeah, good stuff there. Very well held by Tim Claessens, because, I mean, you know, you and I, Bradley, we've both driven GT3 cars quite a bit, and we know that if you put a wheel into the gravel, then it's very easy for the traction control to kick in and send you around, but Claessens, I think, knew to just lift out a little bit, keep the rear end stable. So unfortunately, he's back behind Oliveira as a result, but Kwon has managed to jump both of them here in the pits, and Gerald Chevalier far ahead as well. So quite a bit going on there in that pit stop cycle as Marco D'Acunto makes his way out of the pit lane. Has he beaten Kulikowski? Out of the pits, yes, but they've got the entire straight to work with here. And Kulikowski with an 8-second stop time, that obviously hasn't helped him there. That extra 10th stopped there for D'Acunto. That is how the positions are at the moment. Got to look out for Philip Meyer in that McLaren, because he's got a really good turn of pace on.
Yeah, he does. That McLaren is probably one of the hardest GT3 cars to drive, but my God, is it quick when you get it right. It's so well balanced. It's old compared to, well, obviously the BMW, Porsche, and Lamborghini, the majority of the field are driving, but it's a very quick car once it's hooked up, and it spits flames. Like, it's one of the best cars on the service, in my opinion, just because of how quick it can be in the right hand.
Up goes Oliveira, up the inside of, it looks to be Kwon, Hyukjin Kwon losing a position there. That might have been a mistake there for the BMW, but he's trying to fight back here against the Lamborghini. Trying up the inside into turn 9, that's not going to work out for him. While all of this is happening, Miata managed to beat Rosen for the lead in the pit stop cycle 2 as in comes Kwon. That's going to be a second stop here. Might that be either a speeding in pits penalty that he has to serve, or maybe he's not put enough fuel in the car to take it to the end?
I don't know. I didn't check his pit lane speed, but either way, that's probably one of the most awful ways to end your race, because he was up 14, 15 positions by the time those pit cycles came around, and now he's just sitting in pit lane.
Oh, for the lead, Miata running a little bit wide out of turn 4, allows Rosen alongside. The two BMWs battling hard here as Rosen tries to hold the outside through the double left-hander. He gets a good exit, uses all of the curb, but Miata sticks his nose back in. Oh, gets his elbows out, sends him into the gravel trap. That is Rosen off track now, and Miata not making many friends out there. First it was Marshalkowski, now it's Rosen he's made contact with. Got on the throttle a little harder there and full on sent him off the road there as we check out the virtual racing school replay. Rosen was doing fantastically there to hold on to the outside line, but you'll just see a little bit of understeer there for Miata, and then out into the gravel trap goes Rosen. Well, he managed to hold on to the lead for just the slimmest of margins, but I think he's going to have a few words there with Miata after the race.
Yeah, he hasn't. I haven't heard anything over any radios or anything, but it was. I think he just went a little bit too hot. The steering didn't open or anything on exit like excessively, so there was no real malicious intent. He's probably thankful that it happened, but I don't think there was anything malicious there. But Kenny has voiced his opinions nicely in the text chat, but he is not happy with that, to say the least.
Yeah, to the tune of 2 question marks in the driver chat down there in this session. Here we go then. This is a replay of that from Rosen's perspective. You see Miata there on the left-hand side, and Rosen gave him the room there. Just enough there as Miata on board here. We'll see what happened. He just takes the narrow line, and then the front end goes. He tries to get on the throttle, and I think Rosen might have had some room there if Miata had stayed a little bit more to the left, but I think Ritomo did not want to give Rosen that chance, and off into the gravel trap the Dutchman goes.
It's a very, very unfortunate accident. It's not how you want to lose a race. Thankfully, the contact wasn't too bad. He lost a little bit of time, but he didn't spin or put it in the wall or anything. But yeah, still very, very unfortunate.
I'll have to correct myself. Perhaps Kenny Rosen is Dutch, but he's part of the UK and Ireland club, so I'll correct myself on that one. Here's Bruno Spengler. He's back down in 10th place. He's actually lost quite a bit of time out there on track. Something has happened to him that we have missed. He's currently behind Gerald Chevalier, trying to chase down 9th position.
It's funny that we switched to Bruno Spengler. I think our director might be a psychic, because I was just trying to find him. I was looking in the top 5 and I was like, where is he? He's completely gone. And yeah, I've noticed he's in 10th. I don't know what happened to him, but
I don't think it was pit lane, because he had a reasonably good stop time and lane time compared to everyone else. So I think it's been a mistake out on track that's taken Bruno Spengler out of contention for the podium positions. I'm just going back to check and see what happened to him. Might have to go back a few laps here to find out what happened to our resident real-life racer. He's been behind Chevalier for 3 or 4 laps now. It looks like he actually might have taken another trip through pit lane. I'm not too sure what's going on there for Bruno.
yeah, I'm at a loss unless he took tires. Well, he couldn't have, because his pit stop wasn't slow.
Yeah, and he's only listed as having 1 pit stop on the timing. So yeah, that's bizarre there for Bruno Spengler. Either way, he is a lot further back than he should be.
Yeah, I'm completely baffled by that now, but I guess that's what happens when we have so much action going on and only 3 sets of eyes to look at it. But yeah, I'm perplexed.
Well, he's trying up the inside here of Chevalier. Let's see if he can get it done at turn 4. He still has a tiny bit of overlap and goes for the move. Experienced real-life racer on his way through, and game, set, and match. That is done. That move for 9th place. Oliveira and Klassen still keeping each other very busy out there on track as well for 11th and 12th. And meanwhile, the battle for 3rd is well and truly on, because Marco D'Acunto is holding on to it here with Dominik Kulikovski and Philip Meyer out there as well. That McLaren looking very racy here in the late stages. We've only got 40 seconds left on the clock, which means that Ritomo Miata has started the final lap, and we're going to get a result pretty soon. This is one chance left here for Philip Meyer to make his way past and get back into 4th place. He is down 1 position. Dominik Kulikovski is up 1 position. These guys have been fighting against each other a lot of the race, and Kulikovski lifting off there down the straight. Might he have underfueled it, because through goes Meyer pretty easily into turn 3.
Yeah, that wasn't even like a last minute thing. That was really early coming out of turn 2, and yeah, just maybe he knows that McLaren is just so much quicker than he is in the BMW. The lap times are very similar between them, but maybe the the BMW is known for absolutely shredding through its front tires, so maybe that's starting to come into effect now. And then McLaren's just a little bit better on tires. I'm not sure, but this late race pace from Maya is just insane. It's rapid.
Yeah, indeed. Well, either way, we have got just a corner to go here for Ritomo Miyata in controversial circumstances. He is going to take victory after starting from pole position. Both of the cars he was fighting with having made contact, and Kenny Rosen, well, second place on the track for him, but he probably feels that the win should have been his right. And then it's Marco D'Acunto who comes across the line in third. Philip Meyer back into fourth with Dominik Kulikowski rounding out the top five. Up 4 positions, Denis Grabowski. Very good job for him in the Porsche. So, that was very close there between Spengler and Chevalier. It looks like Chevalier just managing to hold him off there by 0.12 of a second just about, as we have more finishes now coming across the line. Our last few finishes are going to be Sulasalmi, Dancy, and Bojan Neumann. But quite a few retirements out of that one, with Santarelli, though, still out on the track. Either way, what an interesting sequence of events here at the Red Bull Ring for Virtual Racing School GT Sprint here on the iRacing platform. These are the results. Ritomo Miyata by 1.8 seconds over Kenny Rosen, with Marco D'Acunto completing the podium. Then it's Meyer, Kulikowski, Grabowski, Selewski, and Marshalkowski rounding out the top 8, with Gerald Chevalier and Bruno Spengler rounding out the top 10. But we're still not quite sure what happened to Bruno out there.
Yeah, I've tried looking and it still baffles me. I have no idea what's going wrong. But Pedro Oliveira starts the second group of 10 with Tim Claessens in 12th, Nathan Ames in 13th, Pierre Bizu in 14th, Alberto Gravali 15th, Luciano assists Marshall Schultz, Tony Sulasami, and Craig Jancy and Bojan Newman rounding out the top 20.
Then we get into retirement territory, or at least laps down territory. Hyuk-Jin Kwon started from the back and was up as high as 13th before he ended up having to pull back into the pits. Then Sebastian Tixier, retirement. Santarelli was able to make it back out on track, but he's classified 8 laps down. Then it's Weidenfeller, Hartainen, Corey, and Elliott Smith rounding out our 27 car field. Well then, another fun round of Virtual Racing School GT. Fun for us up here in the commentary box, but certainly not a huge amount of fun for some of the drivers out there. The next round of this championship, week 8, is going to be at the Long Beach Street Circuit, though. So it's going to play havoc there for the drivers. They're going to have to keep it off the walls.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Long Beach is a beast of a track. It's not quite Spa difficult with a lot of, famous intricate corners, but it's a street circuit. It's bumpy, it's narrow. There's the fountain, there's the hairpin, which is, if I'm correct, the tightest hairpin in all of motorsport. So races there since its release has been interesting and entertaining. So I'm very much looking forward to what we get to watch next week.
Absolutely. Long Beach there on screen at the moment. They'll make their way around the roundabout fountain. We hope you can join us at the same time next weekend, next Saturday, for the new round of the Virtual Racing School GT Sprint Series here on the iRacing platform. I'm Reese Gardner. It was Bradley Wingard alongside me in the commentary box with Scott Fountain, directing, handling production behind the scenes tonight. From all of us here at SimSpeed TV, bye for now, but not forever. If you're interested in Virtual Racing School GT here on SimSpeed TV, we will see you on the streets of Long Beach.
Are you new to sim racing, or maybe the aliens reach impressive lap times that seem impossible to achieve? If so, you're not alone. Most drivers reach a certain level and get stuck. But getting faster on track is easier than you think. VRS coaches are some of the best sim racers in the world and offer one-on-one driver skills training at affordable rates to help new drivers learn the basics and help experienced drivers break through to the next level. Are you ready to get faster and get off the iRating roller coaster? If so, VRS one-on-one personal training is for you. If you've invested in your equipment, it might be time to invest in yourself. Just go to virtualracingschool.com and sign up for a 30, 60 or 90-minute session with one of our world-class coaches, and you'll learn exactly what to do for faster lap times and more podiums. Are you spending a lot of time looking for setups and struggling for faster lap times? Are you tired of searching online for answers? Would you like to get setups, analysis and tutorials from some of the best sim racers in the world like Ralph Haller, Mitchell de Jong, Martin Krunker, Josh Rogers and many more? If so, virtualracingschool.com is the answer you've been looking for. VRS data packs provide hot laps from our professional coaches for you to analyse and replicate. They provide tutorials that walk you through the fastest laps and what the pros did to achieve the best times. And they provide the setups you need to ensure your car is competitive in both oval and road racing. If you're ready to get faster and reach more podiums sooner than later, just go to virtualracingschool.com and sign up for a free account today.
This is fantastic. This is GT racing right now. He's got traction. He's going the outside. Both of them. Maloney. Oh, he's taking Anderson. Anderson's up top. Oh my God. Oh, big crash. Oh my goodness. Half the field's going to get rolled.
Six very close. These guys I want to make their way through the field very quickly. Oh, here we go. Oh no. That's massive. This is it. This is over. I can't believe this. Oh my God.
God, what?